Hi, everyone. Dr. Carolyn here. We're still talking about diets. Last week, we talked about the intermittent fasting diet. And today, I want to talk to you more about the ketogenic diet. And it's another popular fad diet. It's been touted as offering significant changes in weight, as well as delivering numerous health benefits, particularly for people with diabetes. So the keto diet is a low carbohydrate, high fat diet. And some articles are reporting health benefits against diabetes, cancer, and even Alzheimer's disease. And the underlying premise is that limiting carbohydrates is better than limiting fat in terms of producing weight loss and good health. Well, let's look at some of the research because I really want to help educate you about what's true, what's factual, and what's not true about these different fad diets. Well, a 2003 study showed that short-term, meaning less than 6 months, uh, changes in weight was better on a low-carb diet, but that the benefit did not hold. And isn't this true about most diets that maybe you've been on? That for the first 3 to 6 months, everything's going well. Maybe the number on the scale goes down, but then in a year, 2 years, or less, all of that goes away. And in this particular study, at 1 year, there was no difference between the group on the diet and the group that wasn't. No difference. On another study of people with a body mass index above 43, the low carbohydrate diet was again compared to a low fat diet. The keto diet, low carb dieters lost about 13 up to 32 pounds, and the low fat dieters lost less. They lost 4 pounds up to 13 pounds. However, this study again was very short term, so we don't know what would have happened at the end of a year or longer. So the bottom line is most of these studies are typical in that they, when they set out to evaluate different diets, they do these really short-term studies. And again, that is really a fallacy of the research on the diets, because I think most every one of you who is watching this video know that you can easily lose weight for 3 months. But the problem isn't losing weight. The problem is maintaining that weight loss. And secondly, an even bigger thing to be aware of is that weight loss is not the biggest predictor of long-term health. It is what you eat, as I mentioned in the previous video on intermittent fasting. So the points that are important for you to look at when you're reading an article about a big study showing massive weight loss on the keto diet is to ask yourself, is the weight loss significant in your point of view? And are the studies long enough to show that people are able to maintain their weight loss for at least a year and hopefully for longer? Because the studies that have been done in long term, the 5-year studies, for example, have not shown that going on a diet helps you to maintain a certain weight, nor does it help you to improve your overall health. So it's important to remember those 2 points. And if you are one of those people who chronically cycles from one fad diet to another, you know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody can lose it. Can we maintain it? And also, does weight loss really mean you're healthy? So you may have blamed yourself in the past for, not being able to maintain a certain weight or stay on a diet, and that's not your fault. So it's important, really important for you to hear me say that that is the fault of the diet, because diets do not work. They never have, and they never will. A recent study called the Diet Intervention Examining the Factors Interacting with Treatment Success study. That's the longest study name I've seen in a long time. The acronym is Diet Fits. So the Diet Fits study also compared low fat and low carb diets, and they found that both delivered about the same amount of weight loss, lowering blood sugar and cholesterol. Now, this study had over 600 healthy people who were considered to have a BMI, body mass index, of overweight or obese. In the study, dieters were restricted to 20 grams of carbs or 20 grams of fat, both of which are severe restrictions. But they could eat as much vegetables or and some processed foods. They cooked at home and avoided added sugar, trans fats, and refined carbs. The study participants had 22 classes and access to health educators to teach them how to change their behaviors and how to reduce emotional eating. Sounds good, doesn't it? Both groups were also encouraged to exercise 150 minutes or have physical activity 150 minutes a week. And both groups lost approximately the same amount of weight, 12 pounds, over the course of a year. So Diet Fit's researchers felt that both diets were as successful as the other because they were sustainable but they were sustainable with a tremendous amount of behavioral support, which most of us do not have in our own homes, right? So the keto diet follows in the footsteps of many, many other low-carb diets like the paleo diet, the Atkins diet, etc. But it differs in that it encourages people to stop eating almost all carbohydrates and eat high levels of fat, over 70% of calories consumed, and avoid excess protein. This puts the body into what we call ketosis, and that therefore the name for this particular diet. So when the body does not have enough blood sugar to burn for energy, the body will theoretically burn stored fats instead. And that then leads to a buildup of acids or ketones in the body. Ketosis can be really harmful if it's excessive because it causes what's called ketoacidosis. And that's what diabetics can get and can be very life-threatening. But is the keto diet more effective than other diets for weight loss or health? Well, in an analysis of 13 studies, which each lasted longer than a year, so that meets part of my criteria for a good study, at least a year, preferably more. But in those review of 13 studies, researchers found that the keto diet overall resulted in less than 2 pounds more of weight loss on average than the high carb, low fat diets. Another analysis studying people with type 2 diabetes did not show that the keto diet improved blood sugar. So, let's look at the truth. If you want to diet just because you find it exciting and you're still chasing after the thin ideal, then you can pick any of those fad diets and you'll get the same result. But the result you'll get is that you may have success, what you call success, by losing weight in the first 3 to 6 months, but most of that weight loss will not be able to be maintained for a year. And weight loss does not equal good health. So the culture that we're living in has created a stigma for people living in larger bodies, making them even afraid to get medical care for fear of being stigmatized in their doctor's office. So diets have never, ever been shown to be sustainable. This is true over my entire years in practice of medicine, I should say decades in practice of medicine. There's never been a diet that people have been able to stay on for very long. So I don't know what it's going to take to really get the message across that diets don't work. But just be aware that diets like the keto diet can pose a specific risk, particularly to those who have diabetes. And the most important thing you can do for your health is not go on a diet, but focus on eating whole grains, fruit and vegetables, legumes, and avoiding or limiting processed foods and meat. That's what you can do to improve your health. So there are over 45 studies showing that the consumption of whole grains was associated with reductions in risk for heart disease, diabetes, stroke, cancers, and death from all causes. Um, and we know that there are many side effects to the keto diet, including some weird ones like bad breath, but also constipation, muscle cramps, vitamin and mineral deficiencies, headaches, bone fractures, and even pancreatitis. So it's important to understand the facts. There is no such thing as one diet that works for every body. And that's why there are so many diets on the market. And that's why the diet industry is a 60 plus $billion industry. If you decide you want to make healthy changes, look for the facts. Find a way to make healthy changes that is supported by research, like what I mentioned earlier in this video and also in the one on the intermittent fasting. It would be great to be able to bury dieting in a time capsule along with things like dial-up internet or rotary phones or cars without seatbelts. Wouldn't it be great if diets were something our kids never had to hear about or never even knew about? Like, think about the fact that most little kids have never seen a phone booth or a rotary phone. Wouldn't it be great if most kids had never heard that you should try to diet all the time or be focused on your body image or your size? It's really time to make peace with food and with our bodies. Eat intuitively, and see ourselves as the valuable human beings that we are, no matter what our size is. So if you're ready to make some true changes based on the research, schedule a free consult to discuss your own food and body image issues. I've put the link in the show notes below, and it's absolutely free, no charge to do that. Take a step for yourself in the right direction and leave all of that dieting stuff for the time capsule. It's Dr. Carolyn signing off. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Thanks.